Are you ready for drinking? Drawing? What about laughing? Well, hold on to your butts. It's the ComX Friday Night Drink and Draw, with your hosts Sizzle and Spedsy, as well as a bunch of Australia's best-looking creators and artists, many of whom have books for sale at comx.shop. Hey, Sizzle, what say we start the shizzle?
Hey, welcome to another Friday night. Friday night still brought to you by ComX. We're here every week bringing together Australia's greatest artists to draw a character created by our special guest. This week's guest is none other than Matt Kyme. Of Wrath of the Cursed fame. And our artist will be drawing his character, the Bulletproof Kid.
Thank you, Sausage Sizzle. My name is Rob, aka Spedsy. Next to me is Nestle's Nesquik. Next to him is Nick April May June. Next to him is Major Lieutenant Alex something or other. Party time Matt Kyme. Peter Wilson. Ben Mulder and Sully, man. No, close. Lauren Order. Bing, bing, ding, 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 ding. And Zach. I didn't write down funny names for everyone in time. I was just typing them and then you popped in. Yes, welcome to the show, everybody. We are here to draw the Bulletproof Kid, which is the story of Anthony Fisher, a gentleman who always wanted superpowers, but keeping his secret identity secret while going to school and having a social life and falling in love with girls, and then being called to save the world. Well, he soon discovered that being super isn't everything he hoped for. So here to tell us more about Anthony Fisher, aka that Bulletproof Kid, is Matt Kyme. Matt, tell us a little something.
Okay, well, that was a beautiful summary right there. That was a pretty good elevator pitch. So thank you for that. I think what I did with that Bulletproof Kid wasn't exactly reinventing any wheels. You know, we've got a teenage superhero who's trying to have a normal social life, and he has these superpowers. So I mean, it's a time-old story told a million times and probably told a million times better by others, but I guess what I wanted to do was be a little bit autobiographical. You know, this comic was far more than just a punch-up superhero kind of thing. I looked at my own experience as a teenager and sort of incorporated a lot of characters that were friends of mine and situations which were things which happened to me. None of which were just super heroic stuff. That was all like an add-on to the structure of my normal life. But yeah, I mean, it's got dashes of Peter Parker, obviously, but it's also got dashes of comics which are a bit more indie.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, that's sort of I just had this compulsion to write this comic one day. It just sort of took over my life for a couple of years, and I wrote out this script. I think I wrote about 17 issues, and yeah, 7 of them got printed.
That's a monster effort, though. Still 7. God.
Yeah. Well, it just wrote itself, you know. It just flowed. I mean, it started off really just. I took some notes, just thinking back to my teen years. Like that's where it came from. I just sat down over a few evenings and just wrote down a whole bunch of memories, like real memories, things which were good and bad, things which I regret, you know, things which I really look back fondly of. And yep. I mean, that in itself was a pretty cathartic sort of experience, you know, when you think back to your teen years and think, God, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. What was I thinking, you know? But wrote it all down, and I was honest, you know. And this, I guess, at this stage, I wasn't really clear on what the comic was going to be. I was working towards a comic idea. Like I wanted to do a superhero comic based on a teenage character. But yeah, look, you know, why not make it a bit autobiographical?
Yeah,
there it is.
Nice.
Sorry,
And were you
keep going, please.
bulletproof as a teenager? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, weren't you?
No.
Yeah, I was. Like, who wasn't?
Oh, I never got shot. So maybe it was.
Nick's the weird one. Let's make fun of Nick for not being bulletproof when he was a teenager.
So one thing that I wanted to incorporate into it was a bit of an anti-bullying thing, you know, and that probably came from me being a teacher as well. Like I spend like all day, every day with teenagers, and part of my teaching started off as an art teacher, but I found myself being a welfare coordinator, a wellbeing coordinator. I've become a year 9 coordinator, year 8 coordinator, VCAL coordinator. So lots of dealing with kids, dealing with issues, dealing with, you know, their crises and little things like that. And, you know, I've learned a lot over the years about how to deal with conflict resolution and bullying and things like that. And so I wanted to create a comic which would have real, everyday teenage issues in it, such as bullying and such as that kind of stuff, body image, cyberbullying, that kind of stuff. But I didn't want it to be like mega preachy. I just wanted it to be kind of real. And I just sort of felt like at that stage, I had a pretty strong connection with teens, and you know, I always found it easy to relate to teens, and I mean, working with them, you kind of have to. So yeah, that was sort of the 3 influences on it, I guess, from my life and experiences as a teenager, but also my contemporary life as a teacher and having a better understanding of psychology of teenagers and all that kind of stuff. And I guess like a real earnest love of comics and superheroes, and you know, whether it's Peter Parker or whoever, like I wanted to incorporate a lot of the tropes from comics that I love them all. And this was also sort of coming out of like a long time of not really reading comics as well. Yeah, so no to bullying. Like if you've read it, you'll see like pretty much straight away, like there's different forms of bullying in the comic. Like the main character himself, who is a superhero and literally bulletproof, he goes to school and is bullied. But the other characters also experience different forms of bullying and harassment as well. So it's not just like, you know, Peter Parker, who's kind of a loser and everyone picks on him. It shows that, like, my character, he's not like a wallflower. He's not a genius, you know, science whiz. He's just a normal kid. And his friends as well, like some of them are dealing with pretty rotten, you know, nasty kids. And, you know, there's a girl in the comic who has self-esteem and body issues. So it's a whole, I guess like a lot of ideas poured into it, maybe too many when I first wrote it. You know, it's got pretty much everything but the kitchen sink in it. When I read through it now, I think, wow, I was aiming a bit high. Like I probably should have kept to a couple of concepts instead of throwing in absolutely every single thing. But you know, you live and learn. It was my first comic which I did, and I'm really proud of it. But yeah, it's a personal comic as well. You know, I read through it and it makes me laugh because it's situations that I wrote, but also situations which I experienced, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So the takeaway message you would say is he may be bulletproof, but he's not bullied-proof.
Whoa.
Spencer's just writing an elevator pitch. He's writing your taglines.
I got you sorted.
He wants his 15% commission.
Do you know if any of your students have ever read any of your books?
Oh yeah, I make them.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome for sure. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you had positive feedback?
Yeah, look, I've had kids that I teach turn up at conventions.
Oh, wow.
They're really excited, like, to see me in a different context. And, you know, I've had fan mail come in. in the comics, I always put the fan mail in the back,
Yep.
and a lot of them would be comments and letters, emails from kids I knew, and that was always really exciting. But yeah, like even now, like I haven't worked on that comic for a couple of years now, but every now and then a kid will come in and say, "Oh, sir, I found pictures of you, online. I found out about Bulletproof Kid. Have you got any of those?" And yeah, it's sometimes kids want to buy them from me at school, and that's a bit of an ethical thing. Like,
Yeah.
what I do, I direct them to the website, but I don't say, yeah, bring money to school tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I'll meet you in the country.
If it's a trick, set up a store next to the canteen, you'll be set.
Yeah. Boost them up a grade to encourage them to buy more books.
Why don't you just plant like one kid in there and he could just sell it off like just behind the lockers or something, like drugs. But instead of drugs, it's your comics.
That's the strategy companies do. They go into schools and they find the most influential kid in the class and give them a free sample of whatever it is. Whether it's I don't know, a t-shirt, a pair of shoes, or whatever, and they know that give it to the influential kid, and pretty much soon everyone will want it. So yeah, I could take that approach.
If Nintendo would have given me a Super Nintendo back in the day in high school, I would have told all the kids it's awesome.
Yeah.
But instead, I told them, "No, get to Mega Drive."
That's why Nintendo died that very day.
Yeah. Look at them now. Look at that fledgling company now.
Yeah. Nintendo Switch,
anyways,
more like
they're lost.
Switch up marketing strategy. Am I right?
Yeah.
So Matt, can you tell us a little bit about that All-Star Bulletproof Kid and how that came to be? I believe it's sold out in 4 days.
Yeah, I've got a copy here, and it's really rare, because it was a very small print run, and on the back actually, I'll just take it out of plastic. I've got
It's a very nice cover.
Collaborators that are inside it. Yeah. So I'll just read them out. I said on the back cover that it's a collection of bulletproof stories by Andrew Bergen, Michael Bradshaw, Brad Castle, Sebastian. Now, I've never been able to pronounce his name. I'm sorry, Sebastian. It's
oh yeah, that looks harder than Tad's last name.
Oh gee, I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name. But Sebastian.
Yeah.
Good on you, Sebastian.
Harrison. On it.
A Sailor de Silva, Cameron Ledge, a friend of mine, Franco, who has a LL World, which is like Lego Worlds. Eric McAllister, Matt McGrillen, Chris McQuinlan. The list goes on. Matt Nichols, Joe Roberts, Adam Rose, Fred Russell Atkins, Arthur Strickland, Thomas Tung, into the show. Dan Watts, Simon Wright. So I'll tell you that the secret to collaborating with all these people are basically.
Then I'll be up. Not ready. Not ready.
You see, he's work in progress.
I started off. Bulletproof Kid originally was a webcomic. I had thought that that's the way to go. I hadn't even thought about printing it. I just thought, we'll do a webcomic because that's, it's 2013 and that's what the world wants. And I'd seen a couple of really good Australian webcomics like Cranbourne and Sawbone and a few things like that. And I thought, and Bloom was another one. It's not Australian, but that was one I thought was really good. And so I thought I'll do a webcomic. And the number one thing, though, to me was I didn't want to illustrate this comic at all. I had no interest in illustrating it. I wanted to find an artist who would do it. I just wanted to write. And that's tricky. and I don't know what your experiences have been like, but it's really, really, really hard to find an artist who will have the same enthusiasm for your project. In fact, that's impossible right there. I'll tell you, you'll never find an artist who has the same passion for your project because it's your own project. So you got to find someone that you like their work and they're reliable and you can afford them. Like there's so many factors, right? And I ended up going through quite a few different artists, and it wasn't working out. Some people were really good initially, but then they'd slow right down, or some people kind of stuffed me around with prices and stuff like that. But I found this fantastic artist, and I found him on the Oz Comic Challenge. Darren Close would run.
Yeah.
In fact, most of the artists that I approached, I found from there, and the guy that really stood out to me and I got on board was Strickland. And if you've got the first print edition and even the second print, Arthur Strickland was the artist in the comics. And I'll just show you this one here. Wrong one. This is his cover. So there's the characters down the bottom. Just trying to show it without the glare. So Arthur Strickland, absolutely fantastic artist. And I'll just show you while I'm on the screen too, like some of his interiors.
Wow, very nice.
That's really good.
Yeah, like really, really amazing.
Wow.
I was absolutely stoked with his artwork.
Oh yeah.
And basically what happened was we put out the first issue, and it was really, really well received. It sold really well. A lot of people in the comic scene were like gobbling it up, and at the conventions, people were coming to the booth, and it was really, really picking up a bit of momentum. And I mean, it was selling far better than I expected to, because we were both complete unknowns. And so I said to him, all right, let's get going. Let's get the next one out as soon as possible. And his circumstances in his life changed a bit. He had a few responsibilities that were really, taking his attention away from this comic, and that's completely fine. Let's be realistic. It's just a comic, all right. Your family, your kids, your health, all that's first. So I wanted to make sure that people didn't wait too long for a product. So while Arthur was working on the second issue, I approached a whole bunch of people, the people I listed before. And basically, like, a lot of these people I'd met, but some of them I didn't know very well. I didn't know at all. I was familiar with their work. And here was the pitch. Hey, I like what you do. Yeah, it's just a comic. I like what you do. I'm a big fan of your work. How would you like to write and or illustrate a story about my characters for free? How does that sound?
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Are you going to pay an exposure back?
So yeah, I got the reaction that I'd kind of expected. A lot of people said, "Yeah, thanks for asking, but no." But all of these legendary people said, "Yeah, we're cool with that." And I basically said to them, "I don't want you to feel that you have to mimic my style. I'm actually giving you free rein to do whatever you want. You can approach your story in any genre, any art style. You can kill my character if you want. You can flip the gender. You can do anything you want. I've approached you because I like your style. I like what you do. Don't try and just do a Bulletproof kid story that you think I'll like. Do whatever you like, all right? Because literally, I'll be thrilled with it." And I also realized that when you're cold calling people and saying, "Hey, it'll be really good for you to do a story for me for nothing," that's I wouldn't do that anymore. That's the height of rudeness. I was such a jerk back then. Maybe still am. I don't know. Tell me if I am. I don't know. But yeah, solid gold as far as I'm concerned, because every story that came back, was reflective of those creators, and like a lot of them really tried hard to find something from within the universe I'd created and develop their own, put their own take on it. But I think all of them, when I look at it, all of them had honed in on one aspect of my creation, and that's really all I was after. Now here's the killer, right? Remember, the whole point of this was to give Arthur Strickland more time to work on issue 2. So in my mind, I thought this is going to be great. I've put out issue 1. People liked it. As soon as possible, as soon as possible, I'm going to have. Oh, I am a jerk. Yeah, fair enough.
No, it's not you. I think it was drawing Tom Selleck.
I should have worn a red Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, you should have.
Nah, Matt, you're cool. We like you. Tom Selleck? Nah, we don't like him. He's a jerk.
He will never be on this drink and draw.
In Melbourne,
No, with his attitude. I don't want Tom Selleck and Sizzle might disagree with me.
Today in Melbourne's the first day without masks. And as I said, I'm a teacher, so it's the first time since like in 2 years or whenever that we've been at school without masks. And, I've been growing this moustache for weeks and weeks and weeks. But people saw it for the first time today. And I've been hearing Tom Selleck. I've been hearing Ted Lasso. I've been hearing Dennis Lilly, Alan Border. I'm getting compared to all these mustachioed people. Anyway,
I was more talking about Nick's drawing actually, because I guess that's all. Just being a critique. Because Matt, you're your own man, Matt.
You're your own Matt.
Well, thank you, Alex. I appreciate that.
I still like you, Nick, though. Although I'll give you, I don't know, I'll give you a lot of grief. Right, there you go. That's a good word for it.
I can take it.
Because we're keeping this G-rated, right? So I can repeat this on Agro's Cartoon Connection. I don't date myself at all. So, Matt, I got a quick question. Why no cape?
Why not?
No capes.
No cape. There's no cape. I'm drawing this guy, and he's got this whole is there something about the costume, the color choices, and the design that you had in mind when you created him?
I think capes are for villains.
You don't like Superman? Is there something about Superman I've been misreading this whole time?
Oh no, I just think like a villain might have a big purple cape or something like that. I'm not into capes. I don't think any of my characters have got capes when I think about it. It's just not something that I was sort of drawn to of superheroes.
Oh yeah.
Do none of you listen to Edna from Incredibles? No capes.
Exactly. Yeah,
No
exactly.
capes.
No capes.
No
People getting
capes.
sucked into turbines and things like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing but trouble.
Mm.
Poor Tom Selleck.
What's up?
Oh, he was
Forgot
looking
to send
forward
him
to
the
comics.
links. Hang it.
He's a fantastic artist, I've heard.
I'd love it. It would be cool if like Tom Selleck was just here randomly just drawing.
Matt, where did you learn your craft all the way back in the day? Were there teachers, mentors? Did you self-teach?
Well, I guess I self-taught. I mean, I went to uni. I did fine art painting, so I can't. Those lecturers would be saying, "Hey, you're not self-taught. You did go and train." But I guess like the interest was there right from the start. Surely a cape's no good for aerodynamics when flying. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yeah, look,
Just pace yourself if you're going too fast.
there's photos. there's photos of me as a little kid drawing at a chalkboard.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool.
drawing comics, drawing comic characters was something I used to do. You know, I'd buy comics and look at the pictures, really study the pictures and copy them, try and draw them, and you know, like I guess anyone that likes comics, you learn how to draw figures pretty well because you see so many of them, and then you branch out and try and draw vehicles and buildings and things like that. But yeah. So I always did art subjects at school, and you know, I went to TAFE and then went to uni and then became an art teacher. So you know, it was always going to happen, I suppose.
Is there any? Yeah.
I was going to say, I'll just finish up that story with Arthur Strickland. How he,
He's been waiting.
Yes.
I tried to buy him some time so he could work on issue 2, and then and he was working on it, and then he found out that I was doing this all-star Bulletproof Kid thing, and he turned around and said, "Oh, can I do a story for it?" And, oh yeah, of course, that would be great. You know, I'd love that. You know, and I thought this is the whole point of this thing was to give him time to work on the second issue. But then he was really keen to write and illustrate a story, and the one that he did is absolutely fantastic. I'll just try and find what he called it. Yeah, he wrote the story. He even introduced a new character. He called it War Crimes. It's the second last story in it, and it's honestly it's fantastic. Like the story itself is really really clever, really funny. The artwork is next level. But that was unfortunately the last work he ever did on Bulletproof Kid. As I said before, his circumstances changed. He no longer had the time up his sleeve to work on it. So we parted on excellent terms. Like there was, he wasn't fired. He didn't quit. It ran its course. And so yeah, issue 1 was his, and then I took over. After he left, I did try and find another artist, but it was just so difficult. I thought, you know, I'm just gonna do it myself. And so the next 6 issues I illustrated. In the trade, I actually went back and re-illustrated issue 1 myself, just for consistency.
Yep.
That certainly was not supposed to be like a slap in the face to Arthur, because his was fantastic. So I just thought, you know, I don't know. Also, I guess it was for me as well, just to feel like complete ownership over it, to redraw that first issue. But you know, if you compare him, he's done a stunning job on it.
What made you decide to not draw your first comic book?
I guess it was just knowing my limitations. You know, I guess I had a high standard in mind. I wanted it to be perfect. You know, I wanted it to be really, really good, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to do it as well as I would want to see it. And even, you know, the artwork which I did, I'm happy with it. It's a standard that I was able to achieve, but it's nowhere near as good as what others could do. You know, like it's, I don't know, maybe I'm just too critical, but I didn't want to be a comic artist. You know, I wanted to have a comic out. I really wanted someone else to do the hard work. Writing it's easy. So why can't I find someone that just wants to like be an art monster and work that I can afford?
Yeah. Now, so talking about you learning your craft and stuff, do you think, are there any habits that you still have that you picked up for like when you were younger? Like, do you sometimes, like, I get stuck, I still draw noses the same way I first learned them when I was like, You can't shake that stuff, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back to pictures you drew when you were 12, you'll see similarities, you know, whether it's like eyebrows or nose or the way you draw muscles or your hatching or cross hatching or whatever. There's some things you can't shake.
Mm.
I mean, I was like really influenced by like Jim Lee and the Cubit brothers and people like that back in the early 90s. So it took me ages to kind of shake off that X-Men 90s look or the image look. It took me a long time to be able to shake that off, and I was never good at it either. I wasn't. A lot of my pictures back then were very, generic looking X-Men wannabe. But then I also find it hard when you find a new artist that you love and you're really inspired by them, and then you got to try and not borrow too much from them. Like someone like Chris Samney. Like I love his work. I think it's really fantastic. But also like Frank Whiteley, people like that, and those styles are completely different. Becky Cloonan, like there's so many people who like I just absolutely love their style, and then it's the more you study, the more you pick up their little nuances, and then you've got to try and not to put that in your own work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Matt, I got a question about your stories and stuff, because you said that the Bulletproof Kid is based on bullying and stuff, and you said that it's based on some of the kids that you're working with. So is it? Do you have any like examples of? Because I think a lot of people who work. I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna throw an assumption out here. A lot of people that like comics, especially in the 90s and stuff, were not the popular kids chasing girls, especially in going to boys' schools. I wasn't chasing many girls there. But did you have any like? Were there like specific stories you took from the kids, or were you personally bullied as a kid for quirks?
No, that's the funny thing about it. Like I feel very passionate about bullying. Like I can't stand it. When kids come to me and say that there's someone hassling them, it just drives me insane. I think, why can't people just respect each other and get along? But in my own life, I never was bullied. This isn't me.
Okay.
Getting revenge on my bully. Like it just never happened to me. I guess I was lucky. So like, the comic is not like this big, massive anti-bully thing. Like some people read it as just being, a story about friendship and mateship and things like that. But there's a romance in it. So the bullying isn't front and center. It's something that the characters experience, and there's a character named Zara in the comic who is, she doesn't let on that she's affected by teasing, but it eats her up inside, and it causes her to have some issues with her own body. But there's another character in the comic called Amanda, and she just couldn't care less what bullies say to her, and she that looks fantastic.
That's awesome.
That actually reminds me a lot of a picture that Angie Spice did for me once, where she drew a picture of one of my characters called Monochrome, shooting bulletproof kids like in the nuts, basically with a machine gun, and the bullets just bouncing off, and him not being.
No, that was an option.
That's cool.
Does it look like? It looks like he's just about to grope his tits with the.
He's creating.
Oh, he's creating. Sorry, my bad.
Creating, Alex. Goodness me.
Ah, Jesus Christ. Oh,
so what is the
Bulletproof
Kid power specifically? What's his...
All right. So the thing with Bulletproof Kid is that he actually got his powers from... Oh, that's cool.
Oh, Zach's doing a
wow
job.
You.
Oh, go to hell, Zach.
Oh, cool.
I love that. All right, so his powers are super strength and flight, as indicated on the cover, and he can also heal. Like he's got like rapid healing, but he can also heal others as well.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
But his origin, I think, when I look back at it, I made his origin quite convoluted and confusing. And if I ever was going to reboot it, I'd simplify it. But essentially, he's got the superpowers of a supervillain who he encountered when he was just a normal kid, because he's not a mutant or anything like that. He was a normal everyday kid, and just through circumstance, he witnessed a battle between some supers, and he got some powers from a dying supervillain. And so that caused his life to turn upside down, and it caused a lot of mistrust or distrust. Is distrust the word? Distrust.
Yeah.
I see a few nods. Yeah.
I'm not native English speaker, so don't ask me about English words. Although I used to teach it in Korea for a year. Not a story. Move on.
In between espionage.
Is that how you got your powers, Alex?
Sorry? What, like teaching English in Korea? Yes, that's how I got my powers.
Did you absorb your powers from a Korean supervillain?
So yeah, some Korean kid spat at me, and I was like, no.
That old
Like, no, 한국 말 잘해요. Anyways, move on. Sorry.
No, don't move on.
Now let's stay on this for a bit. Oh,
I'm also ripping up Zach's design.
When
where
you
were
went
we?
through art school, Matt, did you
So what-
find the stigma attached to comics?
I'm sorry, Zach. Was that you?
When you went through art school or TAFE and everything, did you find the teachers were very reluctant to even let you reference comic artists or comic work in general?
If I'm honest, I was more reluctant when I went through TAFE in uni. I was mad into comics when I was like probably 9 years old, through to about 16 or 17, and then I guess I thought I outgrew it, but I hadn't. I was just sort of lying to myself when I was maybe 18, 19 and going to TAFE in uni. And I was also really, really influenced at that stage by fine artists, because I've always loved fine art as well. So I guess I put my interest in comics sort of on hold, and I was going to gallery after gallery after gallery and looking at paintings and drawings and starting to appreciate digital art and things like that, and art history, like really delving into that world, and kind of just forgot about comics while I was at TAFE. Never did anything even remotely similar to comic art the whole time I was at TAFE and then at uni. And even then, afterwards, when I eventually trained to become a teacher, I guess I was just so busy in those years, pursuing those goals. It wasn't until kind of later in my sort of early to mid 20s that I found myself back in a comic shop and just thought, oh, hang on a second, this is right. This is where I should be. This is what I'm actually obsessed with. And I've just been like, I just started buying comics like crazy and drawing. And I thought, why on earth did I waste a couple of years not going to comic shops? It was always there. I think also, I don't know. I
Was it girls and alcohol? That kind of sometimes gets in the way.
yeah.
That'll do it.
Or boys and alcohol. I don't know. It's all good.
Fine ways.
Well, I painted for years as well. I had exhibitions. I was in a lot of group shows and had solo exhibitions, and I was trying to like the whole teaching thing came about. Thinking I want to do art, but I know it's very, very difficult to make a life in art, and so I'll teach art. And what I'll do is I'll teach art until I become a famous artist. That's what every art teacher in history ever, any country, said, right? And you ask any art teacher, did you want to be an art teacher or did you want to be an artist? they'll all say, "Shut up." Go to hell.
Pretty much.
You know,
I know
I
a few
thought-
like that.
I thought I don't want to be a high school art teacher. I'll lecture at uni. That's what I'll do, and I'll be yeah. And
I'm pretty sure Jim Lee's kicking himself now, thinking, "Oh, I wish I was an art teacher, man."
Jim Lee gave up medical school.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because he wanted to be an art teacher, but he couldn't make it, so he ended up drawing comics. And look at him now, embarrassment.
You know, in what was the first comic he did? Wildcats, I think. Wildcats.
That was his own comic, I think. Yeah, that was his own
That's
comic.
his first own comic. Yeah.
His own comic for Image. If you read like the intro of that, he basically says that he left medicine and he'd only been drawing for 6 years.
Yeah.
All right?
That's my
And
head.
that's when that comic came out, and he'd already worked at Marvel for a long time. You know, doing Punisher and X-Men. So he'd only, I mean, I don't know if he's exaggerating, but 6 years, and he's at the absolute top.
I think maybe 6 years professionally. I'm sure he was drawing at home and just. I don't think he just like, this thing sucks. I'm just gonna pick up a pencil and paper and go like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
This is my next dream.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. But it's not, you know, it's not someone that's worked at it from their teen years as a goal to be a comic artist. It's someone that's said, oh, you know, medicine's a bit hard, or I don't know what his rationale was, but now he's the boss of DC.
We are a show of positivity and stray from the negative here. But Lauren, do you want to just weigh in quickly with a little one-liner on Jim Lee?
She loves Jim Lee. Lauren's a big Jim Lee fan, so you just got to hear her gush over it.
That's all I needed.
Wow. Throw Lauren under the bus. Jim Lee, if you're watching, we love
exactly
you.
what I need to say. And what I need to say is
Spence is a bully.
no, he's talented. He's a talented dude, but like, it's just probably not the best mentor I've ever met. That's all I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Matt, as a well, actually going back to learning your craft, where do you remember any definite leaps in your progression as an artist? Like was there a piece where you went, holy crap, that's next level? I just did that sort of thing.
No, I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm honest, you know, sometimes like you'll see people put something up on social media and like they'll say, you know, compare my 2012 picture to my 2021.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I can't believe, you know, that this person is so awesome. I look at my drawings from 10 years ago and I think, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Okay. As in you don't mind looking back at your stuff, or?
No, as in I haven't gotten any better.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's the kind of post you would see them, you know.
I know the post you mean, yeah. I don't know.
Maybe because like being a teacher, you don't have all the time in the world to draw. You know, you think, oh, this will be a good job, and you know, I'll be able to draw all the time. But you never get to draw as a teacher, as an art teacher. You never ever get to enjoy painting and drawing. And every year, I think to myself, you know, this would be great. I'll set up my little spot, and you know, while the students are working, I'll work as well, and that'll be good for them because they'll see, you know, I'll role model. But it never happens.
Is there sorry, Matt, is there because like I don't know if that's like an Australian education system, because get the bell ready, Spedsy, and anybody taking shots. Back in Shanghai, where the school where my girlfriend worked, I was friends with the art teacher there, and when he signed his contract, he made sure that he could turn one of the rooms into a studio, and he would be 2 days a week. He would do government commissioned paintings, and then the other 3 days he would teach the children, and then they'd have this environment there where there's like an in-house actual artist, and then also he has actual art classes, and these are for high school kids. This was like a little bit hoity-toity school where all the kids ended up going to university in Japan, but I don't know if there is like an environment for that in Australia.
And that man was Jim Lee.
No, it was like my lao shit. But anyways, it was like teacher mom. But
no, that would be yeah.
Good
one.
Yeah.
So Matt, do I need to call up Dan Andrews or something? Because he's from Victoria, right?
Yeah. I mean,
so I need to call up Dan Andrews to get this sorted and go like, you don't want to be behind China in the arts education, do you? And then he'll be like, okay, cool, we're going to get Matt a studio and he's going to be painting 2 days a week.
I mean, there's even during remote, right? During remote, I thought, oh, this will be fantastic. You know, the kids, the kids are all at home doing their artwork. You know, I hope they're doing well. But, I don't have to go to work anymore. I just log on. I'll be able to paint. But there's always marking. There's always reading and preparing, and there's always, correspondence. And I had some sessions, like my year 11s and 12s this year, I'd start up a meeting on Teams, would say hello, and then they'd all disappear. And you hope that they're off working, but you say to them, if you've got any questions or if you're stuck, just let me know. I'm sitting here the whole time, please let me know. But I mean, you can't really get set up and get working in an hour, And then if you've got a year 8 class, they're constantly asking questions. Sir, how do you do this? How do you do this? Sir, what do you do next? After I've done question 1, do I do question 2, or is that next week? Like just constant, non-stop. So what's that thing in Photoshop where the thing goes big? And you're like, what?
Like I use Procreate.
How do you do that thing that you showed us the other day? The thing. So yeah, that Alex, that sounded like a dream come true. What you were describing.
Yeah, I think, as I'm also a teacher in Victoria, I think there's that little bit of guilt as well when you're getting paid to be a teacher, and even when you're sitting in front of a screen. I was on Zoom and just waiting for the students to ask questions or whatever, and think, yeah, I could be doing something now. But I'm not being paid to do that. I'm being paid to be present for the students. And I think a lot of potential creative hours evaporated for me, at least.
But couldn't you justify it to saying that, like, you need to be good at your craft to pass it on? So even, your drawing, I'm trying to help you out, Nick.
I'll give you my principal's number after the show.
Please, I'll tell him, I'll be like in Shanghai.
The only thing creative I was able to do during remote was make a paper mache head with my year 9s. And that was basically because I had a class called 3D art. And I said, look, it's not ideal being at home. This is not what we would have done at school. We would have done, that's me there. Ordinarily, we'd be doing ceramics, but since we're all at home, I just need you to have a look around the house. I want you to find plastic bottle, plastic cup, try and find as much newspaper or magazines as you can, some masking tape, some PVA glues. And I sent them a really good YouTube video of how to do paper mache. And I said, you can watch this as many times as you like, but also over the next few weeks, I'm going to be building the same projects. All right, I'm going to demonstrate step by step, and it's very similar to what's in that YouTube video. But I'm expecting you're all at home doing the same thing, and I'm going to set up my camera like this, and you'll see me working. But I'll be checking and seeing if there's any questions in the chat. And that was actually really enjoyable, and I was really pleased with this goofy looking paper mache head I made. I tried to make it look not like Nosferatu, the vampire, made him green with pointy ears and stuff. But I just find something like painting or drawing, you need to be like set up in the zone, and you can't paint a good painting when you're checking comments every 5 minutes, or you're getting. I mean, also this year I'm a Year 9 coordinator, so there's always a mountain of other stuff. There's some incident, someone said something nasty to this person, or this parent's upset with this teacher, and can you find out what the problem is? And it's not the simple life, is it, Nick? It's not the simple life of the teacher.
No,
it sucks. No, it's great. No, it sucks.
So I have another teacher-related question. Do you have any students who you like? This is Australia's answer to Joe Madureira.
Yeah, look, I've been like really lucky. Like every year, at least you get. I get blown away by my kids, particularly with their digital art. Kids at my school that choose art are pretty good. Every now and then you get someone that turns up. Yeah, my mustache has made a real impact tonight, hasn't it?
Have you had any student actually go on to do art as a living?
The school I'm at the moment, I've only been there for a couple of years, so I haven't had that experience yet. My last school, there wouldn't have been many kids who would have pursued art. There wouldn't have been many. It was that school probably would produce more trade kind of kids. There were some really creative kids, but I just can't imagine that they or their parents would have pursued it unless they were sort of hoping to be an art teacher. And I'm just racking my mind. All those kids, I don't know of any of them that have gone on into anything artistic. The school I'm at the moment, though, we've had kids go into top arts. We've had some like really, really fantastic kids who've decided to go on and do something in photography or illustration design. But since I've only been there for a few years, I haven't actually had that experience of having someone that I've taught go on to something in art yet. But I think it'll be just around the corner.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Like they come in, I look at their drawings, and I think, wow, this kid's dynamite. But sometimes, you get kids who come in and they are really, really super creative, but they just haven't quite got their visual style yet. Or you get a kid who's got a really fantastic visual style, but they haven't got anything really to say. Like they're just not particularly like creative. They can bang up a fantastic picture, but it's always kind of just like a bit of a copy of something else they've seen.
And you're like, would you like to draw about a book about a bulletproof kid, maybe? Or...
It'll be great exposure.
Well, I think I might use this as an excuse to bring up some art. So we've got Dan May.
What's that exposure?
Wow, looking good.
Danny boy.
Nice work, Dan.
Yeah, I love
Dan,
that.
you need to start signing your work. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah. And we've got Michelle, I think. Yes.
Oh, wow. Nice work, Michelle. Beautiful.
Fantastic. Love it.
Nice, Michelle.
And here's one that Nick sent me about 2 hours ago, I think it was.
Cheating. Nick.
Lunch.
Lunch.
Look at that. Nick just went out of his way to cheat.
No, that one I didn't cheat.
Sorry?
I didn't cheat on that one.
I was just joking, Alex. I was just joking. And
because
Lauren,
you're just saying that because you're like, well, he looks really upset.
No, I'm still tweaking. I decided to keep tweaking.
Okay, I was going to say it appeared and then it disappeared, so I didn't know what was going on.
Sorry, I'm going to keep going.
Sorry, Matt.
I drew a picture last time of the demon, but I haven't even started anything tonight. I've got like literally one line, but
Wasn't that what you said last time as well? And then suddenly you knocked up a masterpiece in like 3 minutes.
I don't know if it was a masterpiece, but thank you very much for that.
Yeah, it was a masterpiece.
It was awesome.
Yes.
Usually Nick is the one who kind of like tells people if it's a masterpiece or not. If Nick mentions a masterpiece, then it's a masterpiece and we all accept it. Sometimes Zach argues about it.
Here's my masterpiece.
Great for exposure.
Hey, you know what? This is going off the topic of comics and that Bulletproof kid, but since we were talking about school and students, I will mention someone, a student that I think I'll never forget in my life, who I had this year, and I hope he watches this. So I'll have to send him a link. But he has created some photographs this year. I taught photography, studio arts unit 3 and 4, and this boy he was diagnosed with cancer when he was in year 7, and he's had this long battle with cancer, and you know his life has become going in for treatments, and he has a lot of medical side effects. He just happens to be one of the absolute nicest kids I've ever met, right, in my entire career. And his family as well. His mother is just absolutely gorgeous. And part of the side effects for him is that his memory isn't all that great, but he sits down in each class and writes down everything you say. And he comes up at the end of the class and says, "Oh, sir, I know I'm not allowed to, but can I take a photo of the board?" And I say, "Of course you can," because he wants to take photos of all the notes. He actually got an exemption because he is allowed to take photos because phones are banned now. But this kid, despite what you might think are limitations with his sort of stamina and his strength, he has created some of the most astounding photographs this year, which are all about his struggle or his situation. And one thing which really touched me is that he did all this research on this Japanese form of restoring pottery and ceramics. There's this technique, and I've forgotten what it's called. He's written it many times for me, but I've forgotten. But they use gold. So if there's like a broken pot or something like that, they'll use gold to join it together. Now he's taken photographs of himself, self-portraits, and he's made a light box and put the photo in the light box. So when you turn it on, there's these golden cracks which run through him, through his head, and through his back. He also has a photo where he's holding all these beads, and they spell out his. I won't say what his name is, but the idea behind that is when you're going through a cancer treatment, every time you have a treatment, they give you a bead, and so he's holding the beads, and there's stacks of them. Like it makes you realize this kid's been through this process. He's made this artwork where it can be viewed from two different directions, and in one direction it shows him pre, and then hold it the other way and it shows him after going through that the treatments as well. So I know it's not drawing, but this is a kid who he said to me, "I'd like to apply for Top Arts. Do you think I should?" And I said, "Kid, if there's ever anyone in my whole career who I think should go into Top Arts, it's you. Like you simply must apply." And I think that would be crazy not to, because the artwork, I've described it to you, but you have to see it. It's just incredible. Not just because of the story, but the actual aesthetics of it, absolutely stunning. So he might be my one that ends up going into a career in art.
That's beautiful, man.
Kid,
That's awesome.
he must apply.
Would we be able to find that somewhere? Do you know if he's posted it online anywhere? Or
Well, what I'm hoping is he has applied for Top Arts, and personally, I think he'd have as good a shot as anyone. So if he does get in, I'll make sure I send it through to you guys. And if you're in Melbourne, you'll be able to go and see it, or otherwise you'll be able to see it online. But
Cool.
yeah, fingers crossed for that kid.
Good luck to him. Top Arts, all of the Top Arts things are tough to get into, and sometimes you wonder about the people making the judgments. But I think, I don't want to be trite, but it sounds like he's worthy, and surely that would count for something. So good luck to him and to you as well, I guess, as his teacher.
Well, look, it would just be such an honour, and particularly with the way this year's been. I spent a little bit of time with him at the start of the year, and then there was a lockdown, and then we're back together, and then a lockdown. So a lot of the work, maybe it was good for him. Maybe he's an autonomous kind of kid, and maybe I would have mucked him up if I had stuck my nose into his work too much. Maybe I would have stuffed him. But the work that he handed in. And just so you know, with studio arts, that subject, the kids are expected to create 2 finished artworks, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but it could be 2 oil paintings, or it could be 2 photographs that they've worked really hard on in the darkroom, etc., etc. And some kids, when the folios are due, they will come in and hand in 2 artworks, like they'll hand in the minimum. This year, his finals, they just kept coming and coming and coming. Like there were those light boxes I was telling you about. There were 2 of those. There were large portraits which he had mounted on a nice backboard. There was that artwork I was telling you about where you could see it from different views. There was a book that he made which was full of his own photography, which sort of documented his journey. And I should also say, even though it was about his cancer treatment, it wasn't the sort of poor me kind of thing. It was a very uplifting set of photographs. Cool. So we've really diverged from comics tonight, haven't we?
I don't know how to follow that one up. That's awesome. That's a great
anybody
story.
want to talk about the weather? Crazy. No, I'm joking. I want to go back to comics.
If I can just stretch this a little bit further, I just want to tell you.
Please.
No, you're the guest.
Away.
That's it. That's precisely the technique he was talking about. He gave me a gift, and I'm just gonna go and get it. I'm just gonna be off camera just for a second. I know it's not really interesting television, but you got to see it. All right.
Get your paper mache mask as well.
In the meantime, it's Peter's turn to shine.
Yeah, because that's what you want. Someone to have to follow up a heartwarming story with some sort of silly joke. But anyway, Peter, floor is yours, man.
Tell me about that bottle, Peter.
Oh, look. I thought he was going to start talking with the bottle in his mouth.
That's your water.
Okay.
Just want to. You won't be able to. Well, maybe you can see this, but he made a mug for me, and it's a Lego me holding a camera. There's a camera on the ground. There's a laptop.
Wow.
There we go. A laptop which has got a photo of the whole class, and in the other hand, that's my Phantom comic.
Hey.
Oh wow.
How cool is that?
On the other side, teacher search, best studio arts teacher 2001. We found one result. Search result. Next time.
So he just wants good grade.
So he's getting an A.
That's amazing.
That was after I graded his work, so that wasn't like
Yeah.
it wasn't some kind of bribe or sucking up before the folio was due.
So Matt, sticking with the teacher thing, because I haven't been to school for many years. Do kids still give you apples when they like you? Put some apple on your desk? Is that still a thing?
That.
Okay, cool. No worries. At least that's answered. So for anybody wondering,
No,
I know we have a big audience.
Thank you,
They
Alex.
give you grief and they give you attitude.
Cool.
The Apple
Well, I'll bring
community
up-
is very thankful.
Yeah, I'll bring up Lawrence now that she's finished.
Tweet.
Uh-oh.
You have tweaked.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
finished
done,
tweaking
yeah.
before I press this button.
Go.
Wow, looking great.
Hey,
Can't see it, Sis.
But
Now, see, I'll try again. How about now?
Yes, yes. Oh, Lauren.
Nice.
What is it,
Very
Lauren? What are
good.
you using? Said,
Oh, that's just it. I use Clip Studio, so fancy
okay.
version of Photoshop, pretty much. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's more
okay.
friendly for illustrators, I think. Yeah,
right. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. I love that.
no problem.
We've got a widescreen
Mine's not
one
getting
here.
better.
I love it too.
I'll send
Don't
I'm
mine
bring
just
up
to you.
worried
yours,
because I
Fezzi.
think mine's next in the list, and following Lauren is
Yeah,
always
yours
like
is next
the
in the
worst.
list.
Well,
Widescreen is going to
Yeah.
take everyone.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
I
That's
can't
cool.
see it. I can't
That's
see
really
mine.
good.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
love it.
I
Gee,
love
that
the
comes
half
out
awesome.
photo.
Great, Rob.
It's so cool.
That's awesome, man.
So Matt,
who
with
am I
you know how
chasing?
we were talking about how hard it is for you to find time to draw. As a writer who I assume comes up with a bunch of ideas, how do you work out which idea is going to get?
How do I figure out which idea is which?
How do you decide which idea is going to get that big chunk of dedicated time that you have to find somewhere?
I guess like many people that do comics, you know, I have lists and folders and books just full of ideas. And I don't know if this is the same with Zach and for the others that self-publish. You evaluate and you refine. You know, you have an idea one night. You know, it might be 3 o'clock in the morning, and you could get up and write it down because you think it's so fantastic. And then the next morning you read it and think, "What was that?" You know, that's crap. Or
I got 4 notebooks full of it.
yeah, I'm sure. I've got like Word documents, and you know, I use OneNote, and I have all these notes everywhere, and every now and then I sift through them again and think, oh yeah, I was really excited about that a while ago. I can see that, I can see the potential in that. And then, you know, is it something which I've written specifically for the Phantom, or is it something which I've written for the Cursed, or like, you know, where is this coming from? Is it a generic idea that could be applied to a different, to any character, or is it a new concept? Would I like to start something new now? Because you know, I've done the Bulletproof Kid and the Demon and the Curse. Is it time for something else, or do I revisit? So deciding on, you know, where my time is going to go just comes down to which idea sticks and which one I'm most excited about personally.
Where is your focus now? Or are you working on something, or working towards something, or what's coming next?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've been kind of struggling to decide. I've got a few things on the go, but they're mostly like short-term things for other people. Nath Stone at the moment, he's asked me to do a Kung Fu Joe comic. He's written it, but he's asked me to illustrate it. And you know, he didn't have to ask me twice. I was absolutely. I think I might have actually written to him and said, "Hey, let's do something." I can't remember. I'll have to go back through the messages, but I've known Nathan for years, and I love the guy. I think he's, you know, brilliant. I've loved his comics. I've loved his friendship as well, and so it just seemed natural that after all these years we finally do something together.
Yep.
But that's, you know, that's just a one-off, one-shot. There's no real commitment to that being a long-term thing. It's just it's going to happen. I've got 2 Phantom comics sort of on the go. One that I've written and illustrated, and it's completely finished. It's just sort of waiting for approval. and another one which is being illustrated by Shane Foley, who illustrated my previous one.
Yep.
So that one that's exciting because every couple of days I get a new page or two come in the mail from, in the email from Shane.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, great, that's what I was hoping for. I haven't been disappointed once when I've seen his pages roll in. And those two stories, like you asked me before about how I decide on what's going to, take my time. Both of those stories came from ideas that just popped into my head, or I had sort of germinating for a while and decided to pursue them. I know my dear friend Kieran alluded to something last week, so he's given me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Actually,
he messaged me today and said, "Feel free to talk about that. We'll announce it properly later."
Yeah.
But for those who are lucky enough to be listening tonight, I can share a little bit about it.
Please.
Awesome.
You might remember that issue 4 of Wrath of the Cursed, there was a Halftone Productions variant, and at the time we thought this might have been a world first, and I don't know if it is. I don't want to be proven wrong, but instead of having Kieran do a variant cover of the Cursed issue 4, he did a variant comic.
No!
So the entire comic, all the art.
Someone's got Dave Dye's internet connection.
Sorry, you cut out just
that
as
was
You cut out just as you're going to say what you're going to say.
you're going to say a variant,
Oh,
and then we missed the crucial word. So he did a variant comic.
he did a variant comic. So not just the front cover, but all the interior art, the whole thing.
Smart.
So on the day of the release, we released this a couple of years ago at These Comics in Canberra. I had like the A cover, the B cover, the C cover, which fantastic artists drew those. And then there was this unusual looking one, the Halftone Productions, which is Kieran's thing. And like a beautiful, typical Kieran style for the cover. But then, open it up and the whole thing was drawn by him. And just a little while ago, I spoke to him and said, I'm done with Wrath of the Cursed. I've told my story. I've ended it where I have, and I'm happy with it. But I think that franchise or that idea has still got a bit of life in it. You want to have a crack at it? And he was like immediately, yeah. And I think he was not sure if I knew what that meant. Like, do you really want me to take over your thing? Like, I don't have a hesitation, Kieran. I've told the story I want to tell, but I would love for you to take it further. And I'm not going to interfere. Kind of similar to that All-Star Bulletproof Kid. I'm not going to tell you how to write it. I'm gonna trust you to do what you want to do because I love your comics. I've always really enjoyed Kieran's comics. I love his style. It's completely different to what I would do. But he set to work on that and came up with a couple of stories and pitched some ideas to me. And that wasn't for me to approve it. It was just for me to give some feedback on it. And I've loved what he's presented to me. And I can't wait for that to hit the shelves.
So was that something you had to? Did you had to arrive at that sort of here, take my baby and run with it, or were you just totally cool with it from the get go? So like just I have a little bit of a control freaky, my precious sort of thing. I just admire that sort of here you go.
Well, I had a similar thing with Zach. Zach asked me a while ago if I was up for a collaboration, and I said, yeah, of course. you know, and then Zach wanted to write it and illustrate it, and I didn't impede on him at all. I thought, you know, I've got my character and I've got my way of telling it, and I've got my universe, you know, what my canon, and Zach is going to do something slightly outside of that. And you know, I for one was really excited to see what he was going to do with it. So I didn't hesitate at all with Zach.
That's awesome.
And as far as Kieran goes, like Kieran and I are real tight. So I thought he was the perfect person to do something with it. And it's like there's just a synergy with the two of us. You know, he sends me his work all the time to have a look at it. I send him my work all the time. You know, anytime I have some dumb idea, I'll send it to him. He's one of my think tank people that I trust. And so, yeah, this comic that he's working on, it's gonna be. I've already given it my seal of approval, 100%. There was
Awesome.
no hesitation whatsoever.
Wow.
Cool.
You want to show some more art, Sis?
Yes, I'm going to show some more art. This is Peter's.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Great.
Can everyone see it?
Wow.
Can't see it.
Yeah.
No, can't
Good
see it.
thing.
Okay, hang on. Try again.
Yeah,
What about now?
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Thanks,
Well,
Don.
good.
Really
Is that on
cool.
paper, Pete?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Wicked.
I
Wow.
found a notepad with all
Old school.
different colours. So when
What is the white?
Oh,
Is
cool.
that chalk or something?
It's this?
That's
It's this
Uniball.
white pen.
Okay.
White
You
ink.
know what?
Yeah, right.
Uniballs.
What a pen,
Uniball
wow.
pens.
Yeah.
Uniballs had one removed, did you? Sorry to hear.
Yeah. I had mine removed a while ago. Yeah.
I suffer from my art.
You'll have mine.
You suffer when you fart. Oh, the stitches. Or, so anyway.
Well, that's an unrelated issue.
Sorry, Nick. What
So,
about
Ben.
you, Ben? Have you got something to
Yeah,
show
I
us? Any
finished.
progress report?
Let
I think
me
I
find
finished
you.
actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Oh, yes.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Wait for the last, man.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
I miss your cat, Ben.
What's yeah.
You at the studio tonight, Ben?
Yeah, last night probably. We've got to move that by Sunday, so
Oh,
it's a
Yeah.
bomb back there.
Wow.
Yeah, the kitchen table from here on in.
Get those dishes done.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome, Ben. That's such a cool picture.
Thanks, mate. Hey, cheers.
I should point out to people as well, if you don't already know, that Ben is a frequent collaborator of mine as well.
Oh,
really,
cool.
Yeah,
Really
I brought him that.
yeah, there it is.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we've worked together on a few things over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do yourself a favor, check out Ben drew a story called the Pirate Queen, which was in the
That's it.
last issue of the Wrath of Cursed, and it's in the collection, like the trade, and you know, I just am
I love
in
looking at that,
absolute
mate.
awe of Ben's the way Ben told that story visually.
I loved working on it, Matt. I think I did take a while on it, but I really went for that one.
Yeah, perfection
yeah.
takes time, Ben.
Yeah.
Ben, you're quick. I wouldn't say you took your time. I thought you were quick.
Okay.
You're like a man possessed.
Yeah,
The story drove me on.
that's awesome.
So we're
Actually,
at that
I
time.
had
of the
always
night.
had
Oh,
Ben
sorry.
in mind. Oh, sorry. Who am I interrupting?
No, please.
Oh, no,
I mean,
no,
I always
awesome.
have Ben in mind too. I spent 8 hours with him picking stories the other day. I'd have Ben draw every single idea in my head if I could. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I wrote that story specifically for Ben. I had him in mind. I mean, I had the concept and I wanted to do something with that idea, but I knew that I wanted Ben to do the story, and so I made sure when I was scripting it that I allowed lots of opportunities for his art to tell the story. My comics are often quite verbose. Like I can't help myself as a writer. I put way too much text in. And one thing with the book, Wrath of the Cursed, is I was really trying to like wind back the dialogue and let the story tell itself. And with that story, there's a really, really beautiful sequence. And I say it's beautiful because Ben drew it. But there's quite a few panels with no text, and it's exploring this young woman's emotions. And she at one point she's suicidal, and Ben just captured the atmosphere of that so perfectly. It was everything I was after.
Excellent, Matt. Yeah, I loved working on this. Every page. Mighty story.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who's watched this show before knows that every episode we like to find out who is the hottest person in Australian comics that week. So, and today is no different. Oh, whoops! The screen's auto adjusting itself. What even could have happened? Now let's find out who has the hottest mustache. I mean, who's the hottest in Australian comics? Here we go.
Oops!
Can anyone see?
Well.
Sorry. There we go.
Hey! It's Matt.
Oh, having a little chin rub there.
That's a bit bigger. It's got the Jay Leno chin.
That's unreal.
Cool. Yeah, he also doesn't get hurt by bullets. Looks like that was the running theme.
Sorry, I saw the
is that a
preview
theme in the comics? In the comics as well? Like, does he get shot at a lot?
Oh yeah. The Arthur Strickland story I was telling you about, the one which he worked on when he wasn't supposed to be working on it. The whole premise of that story is that these supervillains have captured him, and they are taking weapons on him, and they're just bringing weapon after weapon after weapon to test on him.
Oh, hey, whack
if they can.
Hey, whack.
If they can, I guess, penetrate him. That didn't sound right.
Oh, there you go. Somebody's already pressed.
You can find
someone you
clippings
know,
of Matt's mustache on ownanindie.com. If you want to get any of Matt's book or clippings of his mustache, that's where to go. Have you seen everybody's art? Should we go into our last thingy? What do you think?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that bit. I'm so enthralled by Matt's stories, I've got a bit sidetracked. Okay, let's go into this part.
This poor person is looking through the newspaper for info on what projects our artists have been working on. And this lost individual is using a map to find where she can follow our artists on social media and buy their books. How about we save them the trouble and just tell them? We call this next segment shameless self-promotion.
So am I first as usual?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Well, the big thing I would be wanting to promote would be the Aussie Comic Book Day. ComX is doing an event for that tomorrow. And let's see if I've actually got a banner for that. I do. And that will take you to the schedule for the day. Each event has a link to its YouTube event or video, or whatever you want to call it. They're all live. So you get to watch me make lots of mistakes with a lot of other people. That's great.
Yeah. I'm working on a bunch of fun stuff, but my main things are The Devil's Toilet and Vamoose, both of which are at psychojanitor.com. And the Apparition Kickstarter, I have some art in there, and that's going strong. So check out Kieran's Apparition and the Rick McClune Kickstarter. I wrote issue 4, and that's live at the moment too. If you want to back that, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow for Australian Comic Book Day. Quickerless.
I'm currently just trying to get my second budgie book together, and I'm also writing. That's my little jump. Doing some writing towards my Presents Part 3 book, which is something I'm working on as well. Other Nick.
Sweet. I've actually hopefully got something to show this time. I'm not sure. I'm working on my story for Vamoose issue 3, Robots and Robots. So that's a sneak peek of the first page. I finished Nicktober in October, where I drew myself as 31 different characters who had meant something to me growing up. So I printed a little book, and then I wanted to see what it would look like as a slightly bigger book. So I've got some limited copies. I'm hoping somebody will be getting one, Shane, when I get off my ring and get to the post office. So you can expect that probably in about 28 years. So
okay, cool. Lucky I'm a
So you need to lay off the V's then, Sizzle.
Yeah, that's 27 more Nickobers to get through. But,
it's going to be a huge book.
Alex Major.
Alex.
Yeah, I'm working on my Presents number 3 story. I've already finally plotted everything out, so it's now just inking and graying it out, and then so that's for comics. Also, I still do my TikTok. I do Sloppy Bunny Tunes, and my main character from my TikTok will make an appearance in Noir. He'll be there for like one full panel.
Does she do a fart?
Some people, sorry?
Does she do a fart?
I would like to keep that in suspense, but you know me, I'm for my Noir and every other project that's involving these people, I just do everything highbrow, and my TikTok's lowbrow. So that may answer your question. And then I'm trying to think what else. Other than that, it's like just work, NDA stuff, can't talk. Just, unlike Nick before me, this Nick here breaks all the NDAs, starts showing off all these projects that haven't even been properly kickstarted yet. It is like, oh, here's your stuff for free. Take a look. Anyways, now we go to Zach, because I could also show my Noir stuff, but I'm not, because I respect Shane.
You've been called out,
Alex.
Wow.
New
So,
season.
do we go to Lauren, or do we go to Matt or Zach?
Matt.
Matt.
There you go, Matt.
Okay, well, I've been plugging my stuff non-stop, so I'll just say you can find my work on Own an Indie. I've got the Bulletproof Kid, which we've been discussing tonight, and there is Wrath of the Cursed. If you're lucky, you might be able to find copies of The Demon in some shops. I don't sell it anymore. I'm not allowed to. That's a whole different story. Things which I'm working on at the moment with Nath Stones and Kapow Comics. There's a Kung Fu Joe story which we're working on. I recently did some work for Darren Koziel for Retro Sci-Fi Tales.
Yeah,
there's
awesome.
a Kickstarter for that, but issue 2 is being kickstarted at the moment. Something on the go with Kieran with his Halftone Productions. He's continuing on the legacy of the Wrath of the Cursed. There's a couple of Phantoms on the go. So yeah, there's a bit of Matt Kyme coming at you.
Bulletproof Kid 1 to 4 trade only $5 on Own an Indie.
So cheap.
Like the other day, I didn't buy it because I thought that must be the PDF. That's surely not all 4 issues.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
$5. Like
I've got boxes of
that.
them. I've got boxes of them. I'll make it $4.
You say you've got 4 left, and now suddenly people are scrambling
I've
for
got 4 boxes left.
Nothing blood can't fix.
I currently have a Kickstarter for Bronwyn running. I'm working on a cover for Rob and Lauren, and because Matt's here, he can see the next Bronwyn story that I'm working on.
I know that guy.
Because Zach breaking his own NDAs now.
Yeah.
Right.
Spoiler country.
Yeah. That story
Next
comes
week.
out December. It's how the two met.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
So I'm glad that you did the Wrath of the Curse, especially because there's more coming.
Cool.
Peter Wilson.
Hello.
G'day, mate.
Hello. Still plugging away at my ComX Presents 3, the final installation for the Foe story. There'll be more to come, but that wraps up this story. Finished writing my story for Vermouth 3, now helping Robbie lay it out. It's
nice.
really grown. We originally planned 2 pages, it's now 4. And we've never done anything quite like it, so it's pretty cool. We're looking forward to seeing it done.
Hell yeah.
And I want to plug someone else.
Oh.
I don't think they've been on ComX before, but they're Australian comic makers. They've got a Kickstarter for a horror anthology called Death Candy. I think you backed it, Shane.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, they seem really cool. They're putting a lot of work into it, so check it out. It looks cool.
Yeah,
It does
nice.
look cool.
Benjamin.
Do you, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to plug the 2 that have been plugged already. There's Darren Kozzel's Retro Sci-Fi Tales 10 coming out.
Yep.
Oh, out now. That's a story Horrorwood with Jeff Edis on colours on that one too. It's awesome. And there's also Rick McClune, issue 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5 Kickstarter at the moment as well. Yep, same as that. Yeah.
Yeah, which you drew issue 1 and wrote and drew issue 2, yeah?
Yes, I wrote that. Issue 2 I wrote. Yeah, and the first one I did with Hayden as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Lady Radis.
Lady Radis in the house. Hey, you guys have already heard my rambling, 2 days ago, so I'm not going to keep it short. Find me on socials, The Martial Arts, and also Lana Luca on pre-launch on Kickstarter, so please sign up and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear more. I want to hear more. Not everybody was like, some people have missed out on 2 days ago or just caught it on later. So is there a Sizzle? Is there a link, or is there any other way people who missed the interview on Wednesday, they can find it?
Lauren? If they subscribe to this channel, if they're already on YouTube, it's in the list.
Yeah.
So one thing we keep forgetting, one important thing, everybody watching, like and subscribe.
Ooh.
Yeah, we should say that, right?
Don't ever say that, do we? Like and subscribe.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, thank you.
I know. That's why we, that's why you don't have that gold plaque of a YouTube plate, because you never pimp YouTube on it. So I think we all need to just tell everybody.
I pimp it in the comments. I don't pimp it out loud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because we all want Shane to get that YouTube player badge.
Yeah.
You're assuming Shane would get the badge. I've never won a trophy ever in my life. Surely I can have a beat.
Well, they give you one for 100,000 followers, and they give you one for 1 million followers. And I'm kind of just assuming the way things are going. Once you reach 100, it's only a couple of days till you get 1 million. So then you guys can decide which color suits which comic collection better.
Okay. All right.
And tell your friends, everybody tell your friends to subscribe, and then
like and Shane subscribes. Not Rob. Who's Rob? I only know Spodsy.
Yeah.
I know
Spodsy on Instagram is not me. It's a fake Russian account. All right.
Checked it. Okay, so we're at the end of the night where I get to be very stupid and say thank you a lot. So thank you to everyone who's appeared tonight and done their art. Thank you very much to Matt Kyme for coming on the show again and putting up with us. And thank you so much for that amazing moustache. And thank you to everyone who watched.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And everyone who sent in their art as well. Thank you as well.
Yeah. Keep it coming.
And tomorrow night, a special Australia's Comic Day schmozzle of a drink and draw. So
yeah, it's going to be a mess. There's no
tomorrow
guests.
Night,
there's just artists.
There's like 30 artists all waiting in the green room, waiting for their moment to get on here and go, and yeah, it's going to be the best.
I can't wait to go.
Oh, you will.
Chaos.
You're not on tomorrow's show.
Yeah, you're staying in the green room, Alex. I'm sorry.
Okay, as long as I get the snacks.
Yeah, there'll be snacks.
There'll be some cold cuts back there for you.
Oh, yum. Oh, I can't have cold cuts. The salt comes
of course, with all sorry.
Yeah,
about that. Well, we better go.
Oh, you can't have cold cuts.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, all.
See you.
I can have donuts. You can put donuts there. See you later, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Well, we drank, we drew, we talked nonsense. Now it's time to say goodbye. Don't cry, dry your eye, for there are many cool comics you can buy. ComX.shop is full of comics from a bunch of the creators you just watched. Amazing Tales by Dave Dye. The Devil's Toilet by Spedsy. ComX Presents featuring Ed Kearsley, Tony Manzi, Duncan Pranavicius, Peter Wilson, Lee Chalker, Zach George, and so much more. The list is longer than this outro. See you next Friday for more drinking and drawing. Alright Sizzle, press the button. Sizzle? Sizzle, press the damn button. Sizzle you turkey, press the goddamn button.